name is Kat Bowser. I'm your resident fantasy therapist, and welcome back to my channel. Those of you here for the first time, welcome. My name is Kat Bowser. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm also a writer working on my first couple novels for publication, and on my channel I like to talk about what I consider to be the heart of writing, and that's the characters. So I like to dig into their psychology, why they do the things they do, all that kind of stuff. So today I wanted to talk about something that it's been off and on in the writing community for a bit, and that is essentially, do writers owe their readers anything? So this one primarily comes up in regards to the book series A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Namely because the series isn't finished yet. It's been, I believe, 10 or 11 years since the last book, and still no sign of the next one. So I just wanted to give kind of my thoughts on this, because there seems to be this prevailing idea that because it's a series, the readers are kind of owed the rest of the books, and I don't follow that belief. In my mind, a reader and a writer's relationship is basically only what they have put out. So you're basically only owed what is out there. Now, having said that, obviously the big issue with this one is that the series remains unfinished, and a lot of readers are upset about that, understandably. So I think there's kind of this prevailing idea that when a writer starts a series, they are obligated to finish it, and I do not agree. I do think that they should. I generally have this idea that if you start a series, you should be willing and committed to finish it. But sometimes that doesn't happen for various different reasons. And I don't really feel that a writer is kind of in a contract to do that. But as a reader, I definitely understand the frustration. This is actually one reason I will not generally start series that aren't finished or who don't seem to have a regular schedule for the new books coming out. That's just my personal preference. So when it comes to readers and writers regarding a series that is unfinished, readers have every right to be angry, in my mind, because they were told one thing and it's not being delivered, essentially. So they have a right to be angry. They have a right to express that anger, but they do not have a right to threaten the author. They do not have a right to harass the author. That is just unprofessional, it's rude, and it makes you look like an ass, honestly. On the other foot, while I don't believe a writer has an obligation to finish a series they started, I do think they have an obligation to be honest about it. In my mind, if you're not going to finish a book series that you began, be honest about it. Come out and tell your fans, hey, it's not going to happen. You don't even necessarily owe them an explanation. I mean, you can give it. I personally would give them one, but it could be simple as you've lost interest, you want to pursue other projects, you feel it's beyond your scope. You know, there could be a bunch of different reasons why a writer chooses not to pursue and finish a series that they began. But I do think that it would benefit the author to just be upfront about it and tell the fans, hey, this isn't going to happen. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to finish the series. And I think that fans respond much better to honesty than most people think they do. Are they still going to be upset? Yeah. Are you still going to have people that are angry and shouting and saying, no, you started the series, you owe us the last book? Yeah, you're still going to have people that do that, because there's always going to be asses. But I think more than anything, and this is just my observation of what's been going on among the fandom, is I think more fans are more upset that they feel like they've been manipulated and lied to than they are necessarily about not getting the end of a book series. That's my interpretation of it. So from my point of view, I think a lot of that anger could be reduced if the author just came out and said, hey, not gonna be able to do it. Now, obviously this is just my opinion. My husband actually does not agree with me. He thinks that once a author begins a book series, they have essentially made a promise and obligation to the fans to complete it. I don't agree with that because, I mean, sometimes a book series, especially if you're a discovery writer, it goes different ways than you expected. And sometimes that ends up in a place where you really don't know where to go from there. And it sucks when that happens. I mean, as a writer, that sucks. But I'm also of the opinion that if you're writing a series, you should probably have the major goal points posted in your mind, if not on paper, of, okay, we have to go here, we have to go here, we have to go here. And I do think that sometimes writers get so wrapped up in other subplots and other things they want to explore that they kind of lose track of where they are. But regardless, does a writer owe their readers anything except what they've already put out? In my mind, no. Would it benefit them to just be upfront and honest about where a book series is going? Yeah, I really think it would. Readers, likewise, have a right to get angry, to get frustrated, and to not want to follow an author anymore. I mean, if you have an author that starts a book series and doesn't finish it and moves on to other things, I wouldn't be surprised if their readership drops significantly. And I think that's fair. I mean, if I have an author I follow and suddenly they just stop in the middle of a project and move on to other projects, I am much less inclined to follow their new projects because I don't know if they're going to finish them. So I think it's more a case of cause and effect here than it is anything else. So that's just kind of my take on it. In regards to my thoughts on the series, A Song of Ice and Fire, I think it's good. It's not my cup of tea because I'm not a big fan of grimdark. But it obviously does something for a lot of people. I mean, it's got its fans for a reason. My personal take is I think the author has too many plots going on. And because as you get near the end of a book series, your plots could be condensing and his are expanding. And I think that's a problem. And it's actually a problem I think a lot of people that reach a lot of fame have, is that people become afraid to tell them no. And people become afraid to say, hey, this isn't the greatest idea. So, I mean, having read the books, in my mind, the last couple of books could have been edited significantly, and it would have really tightened up the plot, would have really helped with a lot of the crazy plot threads that now seem to be out of control. So that's my take on it. But again, that's just my opinion. So just wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on this. What do you think? Is if a writer puts out a series, are they obligated to finish it? And if not, what are your thoughts on it? So thank you guys for chiming in. As always, if you have any comments or suggestions, leave them below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. I upload twice a week. If you don't want to miss when I upload, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified whenever a new video is up. And until next time, take care. Have a good one.